Everybody out there ready?
Yep.
Okay, time being, let a rip, if you haven't already. Time being 6:05, the Tilton Zoning Board will come to order for the month of November. Last month of the year, after this we take the next month off. To start with, we'll look at the minutes from last meeting. And I believe you have some changes you want to bring up.
Yeah, I do. I got a few. Are you ready to?
Yep. What
respond to
page?
these? Let's start on page 2, down near the bottom, second line from the bottom,
Okay.
right-hand side. You got the words "driveway will be asset to the property." Probably want to put the word "an" in there, "and."
What, wait, oh, yeah, okay, right there, okay.
Moving up to paragraph 5.
Okay,
On that same page, subparagraph 5,
mm-hmm,
first sentence, all the way at the end, located with, that should probably be within,
okay, yeah.
you know.
Let that change.
Okay, are you ready?
Okay,
Tell me when you're ready.
all right, where are we going?
Let's move up to paragraph 2, last line,
Paragraph 2 and number 2.
oh, number 2.
Okay,
Sorry, so, yeah, subparagraph. Last line, after established, take out the "n" there,
oh,
and moving over to vehicles, should be "than" and vice versus
that,
"that."
okay.
And back down to number 4,
Mm-hmm,
second line, development of, by, for, take out "of," I think.
yeah,
Okay, that's that on that page.
okay.
Page 3, second to the bottom, second paragraph to the bottom. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
second sentence, variance and to try, and I think you should have "and overturn" in there.
I
Make
guess
that
I'm
read.
not seeing exactly where you are.
Second sentence, second to the last paragraph.
If you
Chairman
are there.
Plessner stated,
You okay?
yeah. Okay, the second sentence there says variance and to
Oh, yeah.
try and overturn.
Mm-hmm, so what do you want me to do?
Put up the word "and" in there. And then following that sentence over to the end, I lose you. I can't understand either the context or the meaning of that sentence. There's something missing there. It says quite specific in the ordinance is out of place. I'm
Yeah,
not
I don't know either.
I'm not sure what's going on there.
Oh, well,
Probably could
What is-
put a period after ordinance and be done with it,
okay,
the way it looks to me.
yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
What is quite specific in the ordinance, period.
Mm-hmm,
I don't think there's too many more now. Page 4, midway down, it says Attorney Nix explained he did not mean. Are you with me there?
mm-hmm,
Okay. Second sentence, we are here to ask the board.
okay, take ED out.
Okay.
Yep,
And that's it, ma'am.
okay, good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, if everybody's good with the changes proposed, motion to approve.
Motion to
The minutes
approve
as
as
correct.
amended? I'll
Okay,
make that motion.
you have the motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second, all in favor? Okay,
Aye.
let's move on to the first hearing. The First case will be the 12-09-216 Laconia Road. John Bernard seeks a variance to Article 2, Section 1 and Article 7. Dimensional table to permit paved parking in the setback areas for automobile sales. Property is located at 216 Laconia Road in Tilton in the Regional Commercial District. Tax map R20 lot 20. I assume everybody here is familiar with that location. Across from the trailer place there on Route 3. Yeah. And, does anybody have to disqualify themselves? Hearing none, we can move forward. It's your show.
Thank you. Good evening, my name is John Bernard for the record. And I'm going to start off by explaining how I propose to do this. I'm going to speak regarding what we're looking for as far as the technical part of it. Steve Nix will also talk to you about meeting all the criteria. So the first thing I want to do is discuss that what we're trying to do here is a continuation of a used car lot from, or I should say an expansion from where Winnisquam Auto is. In this particular zone, there's 6 or 7 lots that are all substandard lots that really don't work within the criteria of the zoning. They have a 50-foot setback, a 30-foot setback, and a 20-foot setback. So we're bumping into all of those setbacks as we try to develop this property. The major one is the concern is the front setback. The major one that I'd like to speak about first is the front setback. If you take a look at this, you'll notice that from the edge of the pavement to my property line is almost 18 feet. From where the grass area is to the edge of the property line is 14 feet. So there's already a substantial setback already with this property to begin with. What I'm proposing is bringing it right up to the edge of the boundary line for the front, because what we're doing is displaying cars. And if you can imagine trying to display a car lot having it would be 24 feet from the pavement, including the setback. It would be so far back you wouldn't even notice the cars. You'd say, what is that? Is there some kind of a parking lot? I want to pass around some examples now to the members of the board that you can see the different car lots. And I'm going to post them up on here so we can be talking about them too. So if you would.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure, right ahead.
I was out looking at the site.
Yep.
And the pavement of Route 3 itself actually goes about 4 feet beyond the white line, which is the edge of the travel lane.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, now when you make reference to where you're proposing to put the cars to, how far would that be from the actual edge of pavement?
14 feet.
Now, so then it would really be roughly 18 feet to the edge of the travel lane?
Correct. I can measure that again, but I believe, here's some photographs that will actually just depict what we're talking about here. Here is the pin, here's a car with a 7-foot setback, here's a pin, and here's the road. I'll put one up here too so everybody can see it.
So EOP means you're right at the edge of the apron, right? Beyond the white line.
I'm not sure what you're referring to, so I'm going to actually
It
just slow
says
down and
EOP
explain
here,
it.
I would assume that's edge of pavement, correct? You see those little letters down here?
This right here, yes. Yeah,
Okay, so that's 18 feet from there to your
Correct.
property line? Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Not to the property line.
I think so. We're going to measure it right now just to make sure. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I see, this is what I recorded, Joe, when he was talking. Edge of pavement, 18 feet. from the
Yeah,
edge
it's
of
about 18
grass.
feet is correct.
From the edge of pavement back
To my property line is 18 feet.
Wow. Okay.
So, keeping that in mind, as you can depict a picture here, this is the, I know it's hard to see from a distance, but this is the boundary marker, this is the pavement. So if we were to, enforce that setback, it would really be an unfair advantage. If you take a look at some of the other car dealers which the zoning board has approved in the past, Winter Circle is a really good example, which I'll put that one up in here too. They go right to the edge of their pavement, then they have a grass spot there, that went through the ZBA. Some of the other examples out here that we have, Winnisquam Auto, which we go right up to the edge of our property line too. And that's what this property looks like.
Well, you have to move them all back.
Oh, we're not here for
You
that,
brought it
Joe. So there's another perfect example of what we're talking about, how it really does work. You have room for the sidewalk, you have room for the grass area and the curb. And this one also, in front of this one, has a turning lane also. And so if any times in the future, you know, if we were to bring it up, you still have room for a turning lane, a grass slip, and a walkway. Another example here is Benson Auto, what they do. I'm gonna stop putting these on top of each other, 'cause I don't have that many clips. So I got one more in my pocket.
Go ahead, John, we don't need this, we don't need to see all of it. Oh, you can overlap them.
All right. I do have one more clip. So here's another example. And this is how car dealerships work. I mean, you need to attract people, you need to be able to show your goods, and, you know, we're just trying to keep in with whatever else the rest of the community's doing. I have some other pictures, but again, it's redundant. It shows all the other dealerships from 93 to the east side and what they've done. I'm gonna sit down now and let Steve take over and give the technical, unless you have some questions for me. No? Okay.
You know, they're not off the hook yet.
Oh, jeez, that was gonna be easy night.
No, I need to be clear in my mind now exactly what you're going to be doing. If your property line is 18 feet from the edge of pavement,
Yes,
okay? Now, what you've drawn on that, you've gone another
right.
so many feet back to where you're actually gonna put the cars.
I get what you're saying, so yes, I follow you, yep, continue.
Okay, how far is it from your edge of your property line to the front of the cars that are gonna be displayed?
I'm gonna continue, I'm gonna say a little bit more than what you're asking for, but I'll come back to what you're asking for, it'll make sense. I'm gonna take down the pictures, okay, because the pictures are in the way now. As we go around the property, I have a 5-foot setback on this particular side of the property. Back in here, we're about a 10-foot setback. Over in here, for the most part of it, there's some things that we're not even going to be developing that will give it a 15 or 20-foot setback. What I'm proposing in the front is not to have a setback, but I want to maintain the other setbacks I have on the sides. But I just don't think it's fair for me to have a setback on the front. So that's what I'm proposing and asking today. So we maintain the 5-foot setbacks here, but this one would actually go right up to the property line.
I hear what you're saying, but what if they ever, and which is entirely possible, if they will expand Route 3? That's gonna change the complexion of this whole thing, right?
Well, it would end up looking like what Winnisquam Auto did. When I developed Winnisquam Auto, I put in a turn lane, I put in a sidewalk, I put in a curb and a grassed area. So you still have, and then you have your property line here. So you still have plenty of room for all that to happen. If sometime in the future it gets developed, so they put a sidewalk in, you put a turning lane in, they make another lane on there. This road is huge in that spot. This road is very, very wide. So it has plenty of room for future development and for future expansion of the department if they wanted to do something with it.
I assume they would take another 12 feet if they were going to widen Route 3 in that particular area. Just as a guess,
Right.
but it would probably be at least 12 feet, I would think.
Well, I think if you're talking about an eminent domain taking.
No, I wasn't going there, I was just getting at how much room that they would need
Oh,
if
that
they
they
were going
have.
to
Oh,
expand
okay.
Route 3.
Right.
And how that is going to leave John with his site relative to what the vehicles are going to be. How far back would they be from another lane?
Right, and I think the best representation of that is what John was saying about Winnisquam Auto, is that there is room, there is a sidewalk that you put in, and there's plenty of room.
And a turning lane also that I put in.
In the turning lane, so there is room. I don't think the surveyor took this on the plan, but it looks like this is a 66-foot right-of-way, 4-rod right-of-way, so it's pretty wide.
The estate's right away, 66 from the center line?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it was up at Grange Road, it was 66 up there as well.
That's showing the actual number of vehicles that you're gonna have
It
along the
actually,
front?
what the planning board asked me to do was put some lines in there so they can understand how the parking could go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the first one to say, no matter where you put lines, you're not gonna park them there the same way every time. You change different angles, you put one, you have a larger vehicle, a smaller vehicle, things change. On Winnisquam Auto, when we did it, I think it was limited to 65 cars. I think if we count up these spots here, you have somewhere in the vicinity of, I think there's 28 of them or so. But if I have a bunch of small compact cars, you can get more in it. If I have pickup trucks or you have dump trucks, you get less. I mean, it's only so much area for display that you have. And you know, when you're doing the displays for automobile dealerships, because I've been doing it for 20 years, I guess I'm an expert on saying that you don't have to have it set up like a normal parking lot. You can move cars to get to cars. It's a different animal than any other type of parking lot that you would see. It's more of a display area than it really is a parking area, even though they are cars that are parked.
Thank you, John.
You want to take over, Steve?
Ruler? We did change up, we changed up our process a little bit, because John wanted to show us photographs and, from our normal presentation. But one of the things that John realized when they set back from the property line, and he started looking at what the other dealerships, you know, basically going out and taking photographs, he realized that this would be so far away from the road that you couldn't see it. Did you show the one with your truck parked there?
I did. They've seen that.
Maybe this one here?
Yeah, that one there, right. And that's really telling as far as how far back the vehicles would be. And that's why John is asking that the ZBA grant the variance out to the property line. Mac asked me sort of real quickly about the site distance out here, but the distance between two things is there'll be the setback off the side that'll be respected here, but the distance between the traveled way and where the cars would come up is so great that it will allow the site distance in that area.
Well, what is that? What do you mean when you say that, Steve? What is it?
That's the 20-foot area, so when the car comes out here, it'll be out in the right-of-way, looking both ways. Now, I haven't done the analysis, you just asked the question, but it is so far that it appears that there won't be a problem. What's the length of an average car?
Pickup truck is 21 feet, average car is around 14. Normal parking spaces are 9 by 18 that you'll pick up.
Again, like Joe said, that's today, though. If they do a road widening, then your cars are right at the end of the driveway.
Well, usually if they do the road widening, they're still gonna have room for a sidewalk, a curb, and a turning lane. The 66 feet wide is huge.
Why don't I make the rest of this, and then maybe we can take a break, and John and I can talk, and get a couple ideas. But I want to talk to John about that before we finish off. I'll talk about the 5 criteria for the variance. Number 1 and number 2 under the current law, you sort of take together, which is the proposal will not be contrary to the public interest, and there are no public goals, specific or general, and that the spirit of the ordinance is observed. Under the current case law, the courts sort of look at those together, so I will talk about number 1 and 2 at the same time. The proposal is not contrary to the public interest, and it observes the spirit of the ordinance because this is a intensely developed commercial neighborhood. These aerial photographs show the site of the project here. Here's the road that goes back into a residence here. These are the small lots abutting that John had talked about, which are either already in commercial uses or being converted into commercial uses. Across the street is the hotel as well as other commercial uses. This one looks further down to the west, and this is the Benson Auto. Here's the site right here where this arrow is. So here's the Benson Auto. Again, the hotel across the street, and then other commercial uses. The proposal will not impact the site distance running along the highway. And again, before we're done tonight, John and I will take a walk outside for just a second, and I'll talk to him about your issue, and maybe make a suggestion or two. But coming up and down the road, the traffic will not, the site distance won't be impacted, and I'm using the Benson Auto site as an example. They're on the inside of a curb, and their cars are parked right up against the setback, and they are not creating a site distance problem in there. This particular property is on a straightaway, so either way you're coming at it, you don't have the impact. And again, all the photographs of the other sites that John showed you are the same, or have similar reasonable site distances. Substantial justice will be done. Again, the neighborhood is heavily developed with commercial uses. This is a regional commercial district, and the goal of that district is for large-scale retail, service uses, restaurants and accommodations in recognition of a location at the interchange of a limited access arterial highway, or in other words, this is the heavily developed area right off 93. This particular lot also only has 149 feet of frontage on the highway, and if you look at the way the lot comes back, it gets narrower in the back as well. With the setbacks, the side setback requirements, that only allows a legal, we'll call it legal buildable area or usable area in the middle of this that's about 49 feet wide, which is set way off the road. And it just doesn't make sense in this highly developed commercial area. Therefore, we believe substantial justice will be done by allowing this to, by granting this variance. The values of surrounding properties will not be diminished, and again, I point to the fact that this is a highly developed commercial area. The car lot being proposed is not a hugely dense and significant addition to the already developed area. As a matter of fact, reasonably done commercial development has a tendency to raise the value of the abutting lots. Number 5 is the hardship criteria. Literal enforcement of the provisions of this ordinance would result in a net unnecessary hardship owing to the special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area. And we've talked about it 2 or 3 times already, is the fact that this is a small lot with only 149 feet of frontage, and it gets narrower going back. This is relatively unique in this area of very large commercial lots. There's only, I believe, 6 of these lots down in here of this particular size. That's what makes this lot special in the zone. And there's no fair and substantial relationship which exists between the general purpose of the ordinance and the specific application of the provisions. With the large side setbacks required of 50 feet and the front setback of 30 feet, again, it only leaves a very, very small usable area in the middle. The side setbacks are designed to protect abutting properties from development. In this case, the abutting property has a gravel driveway on it, which accesses a resident out back. And on the other side, this property is relatively protected from the development that John is proposing by the existence of the existing house and garage. And but for a couple parking spaces located here and this display area on the southeast corner of the lot, the rest of it will remain in its current situation and will be shielded by these 2 buildings. The proposed use is reasonable. Again, I think just taking a look at the aerial photographs, we have Benson Auto across the street, we have Winnisquam Auto up the street, and a little bit further up the street we have, what's the name of this place?
Winter Circle?
Winter Circle Auto. This is a proposal that will match the existing development in the area with another automobile sales lot. And with that, we would ask the board to approve this variance. And if I could maybe ask for 5 minutes or so to talk with John.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Should I go off?
Look at Gus.
Look at Gus.
Want me to turn the camera on?
Well, if you turn the camera off, we will not discuss anything.
Okay, well, I'll leave it
So
on. then.
leave it on.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
No, that's fine. Is everybody kind of clear on what we're looking at here?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
Okay, this is the pin, this is
That's
his
his
property
property
line.
line, front property line.
So he's talking about moving the car up here to this
No,
line.
he's actually gonna be, I think, 5 feet back from that. I think that was it. Wasn't that your understanding?
What's that, sir?
The front of the car would be 5 feet back from the property line?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh, I thought he said he wanted to go right down to the property
Well,
line.
that's what I thought he said.
On the front, he wants to go right to the property
So
line.
right there.
Yeah.
Oh, he does
Yeah,
want
he
to go.
wants to right up
On the
here.
west side, he wants to,
And the planning
Take
board
that.
allowed the point of protection inside of that too, set, planning board approve this.
The planning board approved it conditioned upon he had to come to the zoning board for approval of work in the setback area. Because we don't have the authority to change the zoning, only the ZBA does. To do a work from the zoning.
I wanted to talk to John about how he does it, Winnisquam Auto, and what happens, because there's a road that comes out right next door. And John indicates that there's adequate sight distance when the cars come out, even with, and basically because of the sidewalk, and the curb and the way it's designed. And so, basically, we don't feel that this will be an issue down here, even with a road widening.
From the drawing that you have there, we're just lightly talking about dimensions here. You're talking about your, front of your cars on display are gonna be 5 feet back from your current property line?
Not right now, I'm trying to, actually,
Well, that's what I'm seeing on this drawing.
this is right, this is, well, okay, Steve, let me take over for 1 second. You're absolutely correct, Joe. And what happened, this is kind of, first we had it out here at 5 feet back, and then we went to the planning board. And we were discussing it with the planning board, and the planning board said, well, we're thinking that 10 feet might be reasonable. So I said, okay, let me go back and think about it. So I went back and I thought about it. I said, when you really look at it, you really go out there, this was even before I really had boots on the ground out there, we moved this back. This is now displaying 7.5 feet, Joe, as you're saying. As you're seeing right now, this line is 7.5 feet back from my property line. As we went for this variance, and I did more research into it, and I checked out all the other properties, and I noticed how Winnisquam Auto was working, and I noticed how Benson's is working, and I noticed how Winnis Circle is working. Really, the clearest and best example, though, is Winnisquam Auto, and the reason why it is, because we have a road right next to Winnisquam Auto that services the whole trailer park back there. People are in and out of there constantly, and there is no issues with the sight line, because we bring it right up to the edge of the property, right where it goes, and it works. And that's why I actually have practical experience knowing that this would work, even though we have a driveway over here. Even though I come up to this, it works. Practically, it has worked for, I've been there for now 14 years, and there's never been an issue. I've never once had anybody from the trailer park come over and say, you know, I can't see anything because this car's parked there. It doesn't work like that. What they do is they pull up, and like anybody would do, you have to pull up as far as you can, so when you're ready to get into the line of traffic, you pull right out. So they pull up to where there isn't any traffic, they pull up to the sidewalk is, they look up and down, left and right, and when it's clear to go, they pull out. It's the same thing that we do at Winnisquam Auto. It's the same thing that how it works. I mean, that's, you know, let's say we're on any particular lot, let's say we weren't doing a commercial lot, but let's say somebody was doing a house lot and you were in a typical city that we know of. People put their fences and their bushes up to their property line. They pull up, you see, you look up and down, you have sightline visibility, then you pull out. This is no different. And the fact that the road is 18 feet away and the gravel is 14 feet away at this particular point is even more of a reason why that this one is not going to be an issue for anybody.
I can certainly accept the fact that it would not be a problem as Route 3 currently exists. Okay, my concern is more as if they ever expand Route 3 and make it additional lanes, that you will have already constructed something and now you're going to be putting the vehicle that's leaving the lot at a disadvantage.
I can appreciate that. I just get a little confused.
And let me just say this, I was up there today, and we were talking all about all the sight distance and everything, and that was exactly one of the things that I was measuring by pulling my vehicle up to where I was comfortable. The sight distance is great, but I figured that the minimum that you could be from the edge of pavement would be 8 feet, as it currently exists.
Fair enough.
Okay, that would allow the driver's compartment to be able to see both ways without any, assuming that there was no cars closer than that. And if they expanded to 3, you would have the vehicle, well, you're talking 5 feet, I came up with 8 feet to be comfortable as far as how far the cars would have to be set back. And so, I mean, personally, I think I'd like to stay with that 8 feet because I've already tried it myself. So, I mean, that being said, we can move on to something else and we'll decide.
I guess I just would like to finish up with this example again, so we all know, we all understand it. This Winnisquam Auto, right now, is up to the edge of it. We have a road right next door, which pulls out every day and makes it work. Even if they were to expand,
But that's already been widened, that's what you have. So there's no threat of it going any further without it becoming a taking.
well, I think the same thing would happen here. As they would widen it, they could go, they got, on my side of the street alone, there's 14 feet they have. On the other side of the street, they have 14 feet of line. So this would have to become a 6-lane road before we'd even have an issue. I really believe that we'd end up with a sidewalk here and a curb as things develop, and as they do, you always get a sidewalk and a curb, and you'd end up with the same situation as here. To push this back 8 feet, when I put my cars out there and I pave it and I display it, it's gonna look like I have lost my mind and I've gone out of my gourd, because the car's gonna be so far back, it's,
I see your point, I see your point.
thank you.
Let's get some public sentiment going here.
Essentially, we've been talking about the front setback.
That's the
We
only
still haven't talked about the side setback.
side, I'm happy to leave with the way they're shown on the plan if I can.
What, you got 5 feet on the plan.
Correct.
I'm troubled a little bit by the fact that we're throwing setbacks to the winds for a lot just because you chose to buy a smaller lot than what normally would be
Yeah.
created in a regional commercial zone. In other words, if all those lots were one big lot, you could never create this smaller lot. Okay?
I agree.
Excuse me?
It is, it's a pre-existing
Correct,
non-conforming lot.
right, for residential purposes. Okay, so now you're trying to apply a commercial.
Well, no, it was
Used to.
originally designed for residential.
So it is a non-conforming lot, and
Right.
that doesn't change.
Right.
But even if there was no residence on there, and or that resident burned, they were gonna put another one, they'd still have to deal with setbacks of some kind, which generally in any residential would be 20-foot setbacks. Everywhere else in town, residents essentially are 20 feet all around. Okay, but granted, this is Route 3 and it's not, so I just bring that up as a point to consider as to why we would consider something else other than what's here to be the correct distance to be applied for a setback itself. Granted, 50 is ridiculous in this particular case, I totally agree with you there. Gotta make the lot useful to some degree, so I'm all for that.
Look at the structures, yes, a little beyond 10% that are in the side setbacks already.
Oh, no question, well, considering the fact that they're, well, I guess it depends what setbacks you're gonna make reference to. Make reference to 50-foot setbacks, I don't know whether it would be beyond the 10%. But, any questions from this end of the table? Any thoughts, suggestions?
I had a thought, when
Okay.
you're showing off a vehicle, my concern is running across the street with a customer? Or is this like for basic storage if I come to you and I wanna buy a car and I see something across the street, so we're gonna walk across the street or we're gonna drive across the street. I live in this area, it's very congested.
Right, that lot that you're looking at is about a mile away.
Okay, your proposed new one from across the street,
It's a mile away from my old.
Yeah, it's
okay,
not
it's
right
a
across the
different
street.
one,
yeah.
never mind.
Down by the.
That one's up in
Getting a lot of
Lockwood.
car lots. So they would drive from the other one.
Right.
I don't have any questions right now, just trying to absorb all this.
Where's the sign gonna go? You're gonna advertise, right?
Yeah, I'll put a sign up eventually, I'm sure. I'll have to go and apply for a permit for that.
You can hire someone in a hot dog suit or something.
I like the mattress out there that jumps
Yeah.
around.
You gonna get any
Your
input
thoughts?
from the, no, I'm just thinking, I'm trying to absorb all this right
Okay, well, if you don't have anything further, then I'm gonna open it up to the public
now.
at this time.
You all set?
So it is now open to the public for comments and butters. Bob?
Well,
It's Bob McPherson.
this goes against my grain, but, I'm concerned with the sightline coming out of that driveway, for sure, coming out of my driveway.
This side,
If he asked to put this 5 feet from his property line, it's absolutely gonna impact his driveway if this road gets widened, for sure. Another question I have, where are you gonna put a sign? Where is the sign gonna be?
I'll make application for
Yeah,
it.
see, now, so you give him the rezoning and stuff, and then he goes and puts a sign, then I could have even worse.
I'll be more than happy to say that I won't put the sign anywhere near your
Yeah.
road. Put it near the driveway if you'd like.
so
And I've developed in Tilton, plenty, and
Yeah.
I wish you guys had given me 5-foot setbacks from property lines. I mean, seems a little
So
crazy.
you're concerned,
You know what you bought here, right? I get you wanna put a car thing there, I think it's great, but, I mean, Jesus.
you said you're concerned with the side setback, that running along your access road or driveway?
Well, what is this here? I know this
You-
one, the planning board, so
you better
how far
define
is this one here?
That's, supposed to be 20 feet in the back. Yeah, the rear setback is 20 feet.
Sides are 30 and the front 50. is that
Sides
what
are
it
50 and the
was?
front is
Sides are
30.
50, yeah.
So, I get you're allowing all the setbacks, you do what you wanna do, but I mean, I really have an issue with the driveway.
Driveway.
Yeah.
Can you run over that again, your
Yeah.
concern with me, and clarify what?
Sight lines coming out of this driveway, if he
Yeah.
puts cars right here.
I see, okay.
The door's 18.
He puts cars right in that corner. We have to, it's hard enough to get out of that driveway now.
Is it, yeah, with the traffic, you mean,
Is it?
yeah.
I mean, it's tough to get out of that driveway. So, I mean, if you bring him right to that corner, put a pickup truck, I went to your lot today, you
About an
got,
hour that they widen the road.
they got, the hoods up and all that, I mean, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
You made my one. Not your home.
but you are saying that this would be bad if they widened the road.
Well,
Isn't that where?
right now, I can come out onto what they have now, the road there, but, I mean, sooner or later, I mean, if we all develop that road there, it's gonna be widened.
I would think at some point.
I mean, I've been tearing my houses down with the idea, I can make myself a decent sized lot. I never thought of coming to the town to try to get all these variances and setbacks for what I have.
right.
Now that I know I can, maybe I will.
Mhm.
I've been piece by piece trying to make mine a bigger lot. But, again, I'm not here to knock his, but I do not think it's fair to put cars right in that corner. Trucks, cars with the hoods up and stuff and blocking my sight line. you know, if you wanna give setbacks to here, all right, but that corner there, to me, is a real issue for me. So, I don't know what the trailer park is, I don't care, quite frankly. All I care about is me, right now.
You're making this sound like though that it's just the one on the end that you're talking about?
Yeah, that's, that end there,
Well, you-
this corner right here, Joe, where I come out. If there's cars right there with hoods up and stuff, you know, it's tough to come out of there.
I can empathize with you on that because I work at Canton's one day a week. And they park right up next to the sidewalk over there along Union Avenue. Hoods up on all the vehicles. Saw a car come out of their parking lot one day and they have to encroach on the sidewalk in order to get visibility down the road. So the car drove up, in order to get visibility past all these hoods, he drove over the sidewalk out near the edge of the road. In the process of doing that, he was collided in the side by a bicycle which was going down the sidewalk. Hello, you know? They never saw him coming out of the car line, the bicyclist, so. There are inherent dangers in getting it too close like that. Yeah, I can sympathize or emphasize.
We do the front, but not that corner. Can't do it.
I'd have to take a personal look at that myself. I'm sorry, at this point. I don't know.
Would you consider a condition that if the road is widened, and, you know, to put in the approval, that if the road is widened and there's an issue with the site distance, that the zoning board can require John to come back and address the site distance on that corner?
Or make it a 7-foot site distance at that time.
It would be something to consider. No question about that. That would address the problem,
Right.
of the potential problem. The other thing that occurs to me is, what if, now granted, it would cost you a car location, if you were to create a diagonal on that corner.
That'd be the easiest way to do it.
Diagonal on the corner? Yeah, for the one space there, for the 10 feet diagonal, something like that.
Yeah,
If that would make everybody happy, that's fine.
I'm
That's
sorry?
fine.
That'd be the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
That's fine.
thinking, it's just diagonal, and that
That's
would
fine, I'll diagonal.
give
That's-
more room.
Makes everybody happy, no problem.
I do want to point out that, that historically, and there were some chuckles earlier when these photographs went up on the board, but historically, the plans were being approved allowing these, allowing the automobile dealers to have the display in the setback, and then there was, the planning board sort of interpreted the ordinance in a different way, and that occurred after John purchased this property. And I'm just saying that, because there's been some comments that he knew what he was buying, but there's been some real interpretation issues that have occurred over the last, I think, 2 years, the amount of time that we've been coming in here, sort of with some other properties that I think we're all familiar with. And so it's not one of these clear-cut things where he knew exactly what he was buying, because when he bought this thing, the way it was, the rules were being applied were different. And we've chosen to go this route to ask for the setback to address it, and John's been working with the planning board as well, and so I just wanted to make that clear that it was.
But to follow up in that vein, being as you brought it up, the setbacks and everything have always been there. When he acquired the lot, he acquired it with what was currently in the zoning. Okay, so when he acquired it, he must have been aware that he had to do something or come up with a use for it that would fit within the setbacks in some way, shape, or form. Okay, now, the issue that you're getting at had to do more with the term structure and vehicle.
Right.
Okay, and that's created quite a conundrum
Right.
until we got our legal opinions and everything straightened out.
Sure.
And our decisions accordingly. And given that situation, even that there's some element as to what the intention was with vehicles within setbacks, and that really wasn't intended to put goods for sale, if you will, to load up your lot with goods for sale. Because nobody was thinking in terms of automobiles, and an automobile sales lot at the time either. But be that as it may,
Right,
you
here
know,
we are
there's
today.
different ways of approaching this particular situation with the dog with that. So we're trying to work with what we can here, without throwing the ordinance to the winds,
Sure.
which is not what we're supposed to be doing. We're not here to do that. As Mr. McPherson had said, I mean, he's acquiring lots to get something of reasonable size and to deal with setbacks accordingly. And you're proposing to throw the setbacks to the winds, or at least 90% of them.
You know, I believe when those setbacks were intended, they were for the larger lots. I think even when he comes in front of us, you'll see that we won't be using the 50-foot setbacks, because I
I
will.
get it, I get it.
So we know that when you show up, there's gonna have an issue too with those 50-foot setbacks, so,
But I don't think I'll ever ask, I never would ever ask for 5.
well, now you have a new chance here. So anyways, I don't wanna go down that road. All I wanna do is say is if we cut this corner off and make it so there's, you know, 10 feet on each direction diagonally and cut it off, so you'll always have your sight line, so nobody will be crowding you. Maybe that will help everybody to be able to approve the plan.
What is the signage process?
You have to go and apply for one,
Right.
and I have to meet certain setbacks for that.
So we can put a condition on it that the signage cannot be in any setback. If you want it, you know. Or I guess you could say, if it goes in a setback, it would have to be above any sight distance, any sight line distance.
I think he's concerned that I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna, some type of retaliation or something, to put a big sign up in here.
No, you can,
I'll
I'm
be-
retaliation. Do you wanna go that way?
No, of course not, sir, no, sir, I'm just saying, no, but I'm just saying, I'd be more than, no.
We'll start from the beginning then.
What I was saying is that I would say that we would never put it in that setback area, and if we were to put a sign, it would be over in here. That's why I was just concerned why you think I would put one over there, I mean, I wouldn't.
I didn't say where, I said, what is the site plan
There-
process for the site?
10-foot setback.
Generally, it should be shown on a site plan,
Okay,
was it?
no, we weren't proposing one at this time.
If the site plan isn't complete then.
If we don't put any signage up, we have to.
If you're
put-
not showing where the sign is, then.
Well, we weren't planning on putting a sign up at this time. We would come back in for that at a later time. I hadn't given that.
But would you plan on doing an amended site plan to put it up?
I thought I could apply for a permit for a sign. I didn't realize it had to be on the,
You're just storing vehicles there right now, it's just in a.
right, this is a long process that I'm gonna have to go through for this too. It's not gonna happen tomorrow. It's gotta go through the state next.
Well, I mean, the sign is still a reasonable question to be raised as to where the sign might go, and would it interfere with any sight distance?
Okay, so when I do that,
So
I'll,
if you put it up high enough, you've really kind of gotten around that issue anyway. You know, basically
Right.
being like 8 feet above the ground or something like that.
Any other testimony or others?
Yeah, any other comments or testimony from, you know, butters, or you're not in the butter in general public, but,
Well, all we talked about is the front setbacks, what about the side setbacks?
okay, I'll bring it back to the board. Now you want to talk about side setback.
Yeah, we discussed the front, what about the sides?
Well, we've just kind of been touching on it, you're right, we haven't really addressed specifically yet. And what he's showing is only 5 feet, which is,
That's all.
nothing in town has a 5-foot setback. Even residential would have 20-foot setbacks.
Amazing. So, what, about half the size of the regulation lot?
Mm-hmm.
Half acre? personally, I would like to see us set a time certain and a date certain to do this again. Give me time, I need time to go out and look at this in person, make some measurements myself. I have a real problem with these setbacks. The east setback, I don't have a problem with, that can remain untouched, basically the way it is. I have a problem with that one, but this roadway coming out and everything on the side. Just like to look at it in person. What about you? You okay with it the way it is? See what the other guys wanna do. It's different than just driving by, that's one thing, but, you know, to do like you did about it in person, will make a big difference.
Now, when you say that, are you making reference for the site distance and for the road, or you're looking
Yeah,
at setbacks
everything's all right.
themselves, or?
Yeah. I just wanna get a better feel for the size of the lot, how many vehicles. I thought, you know, I feel it could be on there, where they should be located in the setbacks, if any. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's really two issues. One is the pavement and the setback.
That's another
The other
question,
is-
you know, you
You're
brought up
talking about
pavement.
paving
Yes.
everything that you're showing, right?
That's correct.
Right, that's correct, and it was below the amount that's allowed in this particular district. You're allowed 75% of coverage, we're at 62% of coverage, I believe. So we're below that.
Can you define exactly where all the pavement's gonna be?
I sure can.
You know, I'm not really clear on
This is,
that either.
okay, I'll show you what is paved right now too, if you will. Right now, this is paved all the way down through here, this is paved right to here. So this driveway is basically paved. What I'm proposing to pave is this area in here. And this display area here. Everything else, this already has pavement in it. These parking spots already exist, paving exists as it's shown here.
Now that slopes back, correct?
Slopes gently away from the road, that's correct.
Is that detention pond functional?
Yeah, so it would be for a 50-year storm. The first detention pond that I did for the planning board was for a 25-year storm. They sent me to the Conservation Commission, and they didn't have a problem, except that they would like to see 50-year storms. They require 50-year storms on all developments in the town, so I went with the 50-year storm.
Yeah, with all that asphalt impervious surface, I should think it would be.
Right.
Well, I have to say one thing, the site as I observed it, everything runs towards that corner. It shouldn't be any problem in that regard. For that particular thing.
So, if I understand correctly, parking is allowed in the setbacks. What I'm asking for is the paving to be in the setbacks.
That's a structure and a setback. That's not like a vehicle structure.
Correct, that's what I'm saying. So the paving is really what we're asking for
Which
the setback.
True, but you're also asking to put your
Cars on the pavement.
cars and stuff on there, and that's where they're gonna stay.
Right.
On my previous discussions relative to this matter, people could park in a setback,
Right,
but that's them parking. The vehicle's gonna leave at some point in time.
right.
Yeah.
These vehicles are just gonna
Temporary.
sit there. You're gonna
Hopefully
come, you're
not,
gonna,
right,
work
Joe?
day.
Hopefully they just don't sit there.
then you'll put
We're
another
talking
one in.
short-term parking on all those other applications, you know, a day, 8 hours, whatever. This is, you know, you put your vehicles there,
It's no different than what I do right now at Winnisquam. I'm just proposing to do this down the street. And, you know, Winnisquam, I think we can all say, has been a good business for the town. It's employed 7, 8 people almost all the time, full-time employees. This is an expansion of it.
You always do a good job on everything.
Thank you. And that's why you don't really know me yet, but I'll do a good job in this, and really won't be a burden to you. The sign won't be.
I'm not suggesting you will be, you're the one that started that type of talk. All I asked for is that I
Yeah.
just didn't want the sightline, so.
That's fine. I'll be happy to set it back there.
See,
They're not
you'll-
getting asked.
I wanted that to happen.
Your Winnisquam
Yes.
project that did not require adjusting all setbacks and everything like you're talking about here.
Well, it's within the same it would have back then, but we weren't dealing with it at the town level at that time. Because when I got to develop in 2001, there was never a question about the setbacks.
The setbacks were in existence.
Right, and there were setbacks there, but when I brought the plans forward and the plans got approved, there was parking in the setbacks. Most of the setbacks at that time were used for structures. There was never an issue with the parking, it never came up.
The interpretation at that time was that the setbacks were for buildings.
Right, I agree. Or pavement.
It never came up at that
Pavement would
point.
be a construction, if you will.
It never came up, and then even when Winter Circle went to develop theirs, which we all know, I was here at that zoning board meeting. Winter Circle was where John Caravona got displaced out of Home Depot and got put down at the other dealership.
Oh, yes.
I was here in that zoning board meeting. I was here because I was in the business. I wanted to see what was happening to him. And that was allowed, and his parking goes right up to the edge of pavement, right up to the edge of his property line.
Mhm.
So that's another case when the zoning board had already ruled this way on the same situation. So I'm not asking for anything different than what we have at Winnisquam. I'm not asking for anything different than happened at Winter Circle. Well, that went through the ZBA, but that went through because what was happening at that particular time in the town, they had changed the zoning so no more car dealerships were allowed in that zone. In this zone, it is allowed for car dealership, and it is allowed for business, and it actually says that if you take it away from residential, you can never put residential back in that area. The master plan calls for it to be a business zoned area.
That's correct. That can no longer be a residence once you've changed it.
Right.
So what is it going to be?
That house?
Yeah.
I'd like to come for another variance for that one, so my caretaker can live in there, but, you know, that's a different night for a different discussion. Because tearing the house down seems to me like a waste, but I have an employee that would like to live there and be caretaker for the lot. But I did have somebody who moved out, and I didn't move them back in because I wanted to get through this process. Find out.
Is anybody living there now?
No.
Have you been
No.
there?
Say yes.
Huh?
Say yes.
No, they're not.
No.
However, I
Say
know
yes,
that-
oh yeah. Trying to help me now, sorry, I'm a little slow on the uptake.
All I asked you for was a sight line.
I'm with you, I'm good, yeah. All right, I'm good.
No, I just noticed today the window was open,
The window's
and there
open?
was a light on inside.
I left the light on for security, but I didn't know there was a window open, that's a new.
The window,
All
well, it
right,
was
go back and check on that.
Is this the house?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a nice, actually, it's a pretty nice house, and with,
The
really,
residential use has not been abandoned.
the residential use has not been abandoned, my attorney advises me of this, and so does my new found friend here, is saying that there is somebody still living in it, which I was unaware of, but maybe the spirits of the lights.
Well, then maybe we should say it has to stay residential.
That's a whole nother story, Joe, which way we
Where
going here?
do you wanna go?
I wanna get this approval and work from there, I think, this is more important to me.
Yeah, you're right, the house is not part of this, that's, at least not at this point in time.
Right. And again, you know, we're not asking for 5-foot setbacks for structures, we're asking for parking, I know that.
Right, because the use is allowed in the zone. It's
Right, it's
just,
allowed
it's
use.
just the pavement there. Is the requesting.
True, but what you're asking to do is actually have one non-conforming use and one conforming use on an undersized lot in a regional commercial zone.
That's way more complicated than my mind can handle, but I know I'm just trying to do what I did down at Winnisquam Auto. And all I can say, that has been good for the community, and.
I have no problems with that, John, don't get me wrong, what you've got there has always been upfront and clean
Thank you.
from day one, so you don't have to keep going on that for us, I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna argue with that fact.
No, but if we were to,
The problem here, as I see it, though, is what you're asking for, essentially to throw setbacks to the winds. And I don't necessarily think that that's what this board's purpose is supposed to be for.
Well, but let me talk for a minute, John. When a zoning ordinance is so restrictive,
Onerous, okay?
onerous, on a piece of property, because that piece of property is unique, then the zoning board is there to act as the relief valve.
Make an adjustment, you're correct.
Make the adjustment, and this is the classic lot. It's the small lot in all of the big lots. And this is the classic situation where it, allowing the relief allows this lot to be utilized for the commercial purposes which the zone calls for. And it's not fair to tell John or any other lot owner, geez, you can't do that because somebody else, or all these other lots can be accumulated, because then you've just forced him into not being able to use his lot. And so unless so that's where the relief comes from, is to allow John to use the lot in a fashion that doesn't affect others, and we've identified some of those, or the issues with the site distance and whatnot. But this is the classic example of the relief valve.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't believe throwing the setback rules to the winds prevents him from using it. Excuse me, if he's going to throw them to the winds to make the lot usable, if he had 10, 15, or 20-foot setbacks, it would still be usable, just not to the degree. I mean, he's already keeping the house and the building there. Most entities, if they were going to have a used car location like that, would probably eliminate that, because it's getting in the way of a couple dozen cars over there. But you're not doing that. You're trying to get maximum use out of the western half of the lot.
Yeah, it's open, there's no trees, it's kind of delays, it lends itself to it, yeah.
But the question for the ZBA is not what other options he can do. The question is, does this particular proposal, does this proposal meet the criteria for the variance?
And to the degree that it should get relief has to come into question. That's my point. I'm not arguing the fact that there is some relief called for, but to that degree, that's the question.
Another example that I would like to bring up, so it doesn't feel like it's such a monumental jump for you. If you look across the street to the gentleman who just put in the caps, display caps,
Yeah, it was over there, yes.
he has his display right in all the setbacks, right in all the backs, and you know, it's working fine. I mean, these lots are small, they do need to be looked at with a different eye than, you know, 50-foot setbacks and 30-foot setbacks and 20-foot setbacks. Especially with the master plan saying that this is a commercial development area.
He has a much larger lot too, though. I mean, granted, he's in the setbacks, and no question about that. I went over there myself today and looked at it. But he's got an acre over there. So, he beats the minimum lot size for the zone, so. But there's still the question that he is in the setbacks, which is correct.
Even when I go and I look at the, this development right here, which is the hotel, they're in the setbacks. They had a huge lot, they're all in the setbacks.
Yeah, but I don't think any of the setbacks are 5 feet.
No, but they're, if you look at the amount of setback they took up, I bet it's more than what I'm taking up.
Probably so. Yeah. I'm sure, because they have a much bigger lot.
Right. And the same with Benson's autos there, they're in the setback.
Mhm.
Look what their cars are parked right along here. I'm not asking for anything different than what's happening already out there now in existing conditions. And I'm more than happy if, you know, to have that corner, so there's nothing displayed or put in that pavement for that corner.
What did you say, a diagonal, or?
Yeah, so he was looking for a diagonal, I was thinking 10 feet.
What about a radius? What about a large radius? Wouldn't that be even better
Oh,
in that southeast corner?
something like this,
Yeah, a radius versus a diagonal sharp corner.
horses like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Paving's a little tricky with a radius, but I'm sure we can get it done. Sure, if you want a radius, that's fine.
I think it would be more effective with gradual curves like that, visibility wise.
Upstairs.
Thank you.
Than a sharp corner diagonal. So you're, if you did a radius or a diagonal, that line would be 10 feet back, is that what
That's what I was
understood it?
proposing, I was saying
From the
a 10
corner
foot-
pin?
Right, from the pin, 10 feet back this direction, and 10 feet back this direction, and then we draw a straight line. And that would be not a display area, non-paved, kept open. You can draw it right now.
No, wait, you're operating in the grass area there anyway.
Well-
We're talking about from the area that he's got, would have vehicles. The vehicle would still be there with what you just draw.
You're talking right here, Joe?
Yes,
This way, like taking part of that parking space
Right.
out?
All right,
Yeah, but
John-
I'm not out there yet,
John
I'm
wants-
7.5 feet
yeah.
back already on that.
John wants to bring this parking all the way out to here, so
Mm.
what you're saying is to come back this way, and then go this way.
no,
something like
go from the corner of what he's showing for pavement now and go up 10 feet and over 10 feet.
Oh, I wasn't proposing.
that. See, John,
That
Jo-
one is
John,
7.5
John
feet
has
on
asked
top.
that this line come all the way out.
He wants to come down
He
to
wants to
that,
come all the way
uh,
down to the
dotted
property
line.
line.
No, not with pavement.
Yes. Yeah, he wants to come all the way to the property line with the pavement.
yeah,
No.
yeah, that's what
That's what
he's
he's
been
asking
asking.
for.
That's what I've been asking.
Yeah. So that's what he wants to do, is do that. Now,
I'll show.
I'm completely confused.
Okay, Joe,
I
this,
thought that thin line there was the edge of pavement.
this is
That's
my
property
property
line.
line.
Yeah.
This is pavement out here. This is what we first originally, we had been pushing the setback back and forth all over the place with the planning board. This has all gone through the planning board and we've discussed it with the planning board. So at one point it was a 5-foot setback, another point we talked about 10-foot setback, then we came in with a 7.5-foot setback. And then after we went out and started really doing some reconnaissances and seeing how all the car dealerships work in that area, we said, really, even if we come up to the edge of this parking, the edge of the property here right now, we're still 18 feet back into the grass. I mean, 18 feet is a long ways off the road. When you go see these cars, if we come up to this road, you're still not gonna feel like it's on top of the road. They're 18 feet back from the pavement. So we're proposing that we bring this line up to here, through here, and then this line stays where it is. And if you wanted a diagonal, we did a 10 by 10, which would cut off this amount of pavement here, so make sure that nothing got in here for display or anything.
But if you're planning on putting pavement all the way up to the property line, why do
Correct.
you show the parking area as stopping 7.5 feet or whatever footage that is back?
Because I'll explain to you what happened during the planning process. We first came in with 5, and then we talked about 10, and we went to 7.5, and then when I was with the planning board process, instead of keep redoing it, they said, really, it's not up to us at this point, it's up to the ZBA. So that's why we were proposing bringing the paving into here.
Problem is, because I see it, my perspective, that the drawing really is very inaccurate. You haven't shown what you really want to do there. I mean, it was confusing to me, because I was totally,
Everything else will remain the same, Joe. Nothing's gonna change, except for this line would come forward to here. That's it.
you want to pave right up to the edge of the property.
That's just on the front. Just on the front. Not on the back, not on the sides, not on the back, nothing else changes. This area from here to here,
And where would the cars come up to?
they would come up to the front here still. And I'd still be 18 feet off the pavement.
But you'd still be on your own edge of the property.
Right, I'd be on my property. Then it'd be nothing different than when I keep referring back here to Winnisquam Auto, because that's exactly how that works today. We come up to the property line of Winnisquam Auto. And again,
It's
if,
not paved, is it?
yeah, Winnisquam Auto's paved right up to that. So just so we're all real clear, I'll fill this in with some. Yeah, everything else remains the same, the setbacks the same. Setbacks, all those setbacks are the same.
That all being said, Bob, what do you think now? Were you thinking that same thing, or?
Well, you know, I mean, Steve, you're a surveyor before you became an attorney. Is that really gonna do it? If you bring this out to here, is that really gonna do it? And if you, even if you start putting stuff here with hoods up and stuff, you gonna be able to see?
Well, that's,
You tell me.
that's
You
what's
tell
on
me
the
your
table. I
sideline.
haven't done any
I know, but
calculations on it.
I've done plenty of this. I appreciate what you're trying to say here, but if you bring that right up to the end of my driveway too,
Yeah.
then that's not gonna do, if you put stuff here with hoods up and stuff, it's still gonna be lousy
You
sidelines.
see how that is
I was there today.
in that building, in this property, this
Yeah.
one here, when it's
Yeah.
from auto?
I did.
And was there plenty of sightline, did you think?
The people that come to the end of this road here, first of all, this is here, it's not here. Nobody, who's saying there's gonna be a sidewalk put here? I mean, you think?
Well, we're saying that if they do bring the road up to
Yeah.
here, then we'd be happy to set it back.
Right.
That we are saying that, we'd be willing to put that in the minutes. And you have 18 feet now to fill out, it's longer than the whole length of a car. And I'm happy to say that if this road gets widened, and God bless, I hope we all live long enough for that road to get widened back to here, that we'd be happy to put the setback to 10 feet, whatever's going on in the area at the time, 20. If everybody's 50 feet back, we'll go 50 that time, but dealing with what we have today, this is a good use. I'm not asking for anything that isn't being done today. I'm hoping that this will get approved.
Are you proposing to do any retaining walls or anything across the front, like at Winnisquam?
It's flat, it would actually, see if you notice over here, it doesn't really,
Yeah,
it's flat.
so you're proposing to leave this
Right,
completely flat?
what really happens here in a snowstorm, when you have cars on display, you go out and clean all that snow back and push it all the way back. So, and what happens is you take, and this is real life, I deal with it for the last 20 years of my life in the car business. You come up and you take it, even though that they throw more snow here from the highway pushing back, you take all that and you push it back to here. And then if you push it back, and every time the snow fills in a little bit more, and you lose more and more of your parking lot as the winter goes on. And then when spring comes, you're always amazed at how much more parking lot you get. But all of this has to be brought back, and that happens all up and down Route 3. So if you put something out there, it's really a tremendous job for us to go in and clean and shovel and push this back. Over here, we come back with the plows, we go in and we push it all back onto our property.
So I think, if I may, to clarify where we were or are on the setback issue, we originally said that, or suggested a condition of the approval that's put into the notice of approval that states if the road is widened, that the ZBA would retain jurisdiction over the site distance and the setback issue.
Mhm.
And then from there, we started talking about this 10-foot deal, and I think we need to go back to the original.
Well, that kind of a conditions can certainly be put on any award if there is any. There's no problem there. Okay, that's our option to do that.
Right.
But I think we're still hung up somewhat on the fact that you want to use every ounce of the lot. One thing, you put the vehicles out, but you want to pave it too.
We're using
Now, if
60.
you go to the trailer place across the road, they're not paved to their property lines, except that one area right in the front,
Right.
where the mobile home sales lot used to be. That's the only part that goes out close to the property line.
Winter Circle did pay right up to their property line. I have
Yeah,
pictures of it.
yeah, I can take your word. I know that one area, I vaguely remember they did pave. I don't know how close it was.
Right, yeah. There's their property line, they paved all the way down through. And and I have a picture of it here too on this, so we can really get a look at it. You can see it back here. Which one is it, Steve? You had it earlier, this last one? Yeah, the last one, you can see the pavement goes along the whole length of it. I'm gonna take it down and pass it
Do I
around.
have that picture?
No, this is, no, this is a different one, this is off the satellites. And you can see how they did it, and that was approved through the ZBA. I would happen to be present here at that meeting.
This is the one he's talking about here. On that. I don't know the writing over there.
Yeah.
Want to share?
I'm just trying to recapture what we've said, discussed here, but whether or not we go this way or not, I don't know. Yeah. I'm still talking radius versus diagonal.
Okay, he said he would do that, he doesn't have a problem with that.
So if you went back 10 feet on a 45-degree angle from that corner building, and made that the high point of your radius, that would extend the sides along even further. And you can do that with Allen blocks.
Well, this is flat. I don't even go there, I got miles on those Allen blocks. So looking back 10 feet or something like
Where
that.
you-
Yeah, we don't, we're,
Yeah.
And you measured back.
No,
Yeah,
not,
from
you're
the-
using the wrong corner pin, you're talking property lines,
Yeah,
not from that
Okay.
dark line.
here or
Yeah.
here? Where would you like me to be?
Well, from the corner
Okay.
of your property. Yeah.
you're
Okay,
talking
yeah.
that paving up to that
Yeah,
point, so
because
cut
you were
back.
talking about parking
Oh, yeah,
cars
you guys are
down
helping me out again, huh?
there. Yeah,
I went with that 20.
there you go.
Okay, so
So-
something like this.
There you go. See,
Okay, that's fine.
that extends your line of
See it?
sight even further.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Right,
It's gonna cut back on, it may cut into your first market place, I don't know.
yeah, it does. It cuts into the first one and
Oh.
probably a little bit into the second one, but.
Put a Volkswagen in that one.
Right, I'm gonna go with Mini Coopers only. This
Mini
is
Coopers.
this special for Mini Coopers. How many Mini Coopers can I fit in the lot?
All of them.
All of them.
So what I said
I
here,
was
Joe,
born in
is,
England.
to permit automobile parking in the front and side setbacks with the following conditions. East boundary shall remain undeveloped except as shown on plat C2, dated whatever. Front roadside setback, vehicles may be parked up to the property line except at a radius shall be established at the southeast corner 10 feet back on a 45-degree angle. West boundary setback shall be reduced to 5 feet from the property line. In the event that Route 3 and 11 is widened in some future time, the zoning board of adjustment will maintain jurisdiction over front setback limits. As I said, I was just trying to follow along with the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but where we are now, down on paper. Whether or not that is where we stay, I don't know. Okay.
based on that premise, how do you feel being a direct abutter?
As long as I have the safety of that, I'm fine.
I'm sorry?
As long as I have the safety of that roadway getting out driveway, I'm fine with it.
Okay, does the radius satisfy you as what is proposed?
Yeah, it's gonna be a condition if the road gets widened, that,
Well, the radius will be there to begin with.
no, I understand, but if the road gets widened, it comes back to ZBA.
Yeah, that's a condition that we would maintain
Yeah.
jurisdiction over setback limits.
I'm not so sure I'd like that wording though.
That can be changed.
Maintain jurisdiction. I'd like to see,
I think you have to put what you're gonna do if it gets widened, right? You're gonna have to actually put the language in, whatever you're gonna
Right.
do.
You have to be more
Exactly.
specific.
yeah, so if 311
Maintain
will widen
jurisdiction.
at some future date,
I thought a jurisdiction was good too, give us ZB, I vote for staying with that language because it allows the ZBA to
Gives you
be-
total flexibility.
Right, if they
Yeah.
say, hey, you know, everybody else in the area is at 10-foot setback, you're gonna have to be at 10 too.
the problem as I see it, which we've already encountered, though, is that these kind of wordings go into these variances and they have in the past, but the face is changing here,
Oh, yeah.
and nobody knows that that is even a requirement
Oh,
at
yeah.
that point in time. See, that's, so I would be looking for something more concrete as to what you would
I
have to
think-
do to adjust
From,
your lineup of vehicles and stuff relative to what happens on the highway.
from a practical standpoint, I think what would happen is that if the highway gets widened and there's sight distance issue, Mac is the one who stands up and says, hey, you know,
Check
just,
the
yeah,
plan.
check, you know, we have the right to bring this back to the ZBA at this point. I mean, that's what would happen from a practical standpoint.
Yeah, that would be true. Yeah, you could-
And that's why I think, you know, I'm not,
Yeah.
I think that language does it, not that I'm giving you an opinion, but I think that language does it for him.
Yeah, that's true. I'll have a copy of it, so.
okay,
Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to stop it, I just want the safety of it. I'll be coming in front of you guys next month.
That's right.
Oh, you
And
still got this stuff in your
The,
head?
the interesting thing is that,
I'm gonna go home and start creating shit.
is that the same as, is that the same as you're afraid you're gonna get the watering can out?
Huh? You got that? No, I have an acre and a half there.
The only thing that I see, is the only alternative to that would be to establish some kind of a rule where if the road were widened, that the setbacks would be moved back proportionally, you know, in relation to the widening of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So if they widened the road 3 feet or 4 feet, setbacks would have to move back 4 feet as well. You could make that an automatic without even having to come back to the ZBA. Crank it in as an automatic condition, it don't have to be done. And like Mr. McPherson said, he would have a copy of it anyways. If that's your only concern. Maintaining that certain distance that is being established. You
Yeah,
know?
I think, part of me says it's better to have an automatic thing, but then part of me says,
Yeah.
I've been around long enough to know that when it does happen, there'll be other circumstances that, you know, Mac may wanna have input, you know, everybody will wanna have input, because we can't know what's gonna happen out in the
What
future.
is your crystal ball foggy?
No.
That's one of my lines, you can't predict the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's one of my lines, you can't predict the future.
Sure.
Right,
I
oh
mean, we
yeah,
could be talking 15 years down the road.
no question about it, if ever.
Yeah, we gotta think long-term here too.
After December 22nd, it might not mean anything any further.
I'm thinking 7:30 right now.
Right? 7:30?
I think think, Joe, you put the language in it that it becomes a safety issue because of the road widening, it comes back. Good point. I mean, I would do it
Yeah.
anyhow, I would come back anyhow, if it became a safety issue.
Right, right,
Mhm.
there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd get all that in. So stay with the same wording up to that point?
If everybody's content with that?
Yeah, I think it works.
then
Okay,
There's flexibility.
all right, let's go from here now. What are we gonna say? Right there. How are we gonna word that?
The way you have it here.
What?
They said they were happy with this.
Oh,
In the
that the
event-
ZBA would maintain jurisdiction?
Right.
But yeah,
Oh, okay.
this-
Why am I rewriting it then?
I don't know, I couldn't figure that out.
I heard so many
Something-
versions.
zoning board,
God. Okay.
Okay.
Practicing your penmanship.
If you guys are happy with that, then that would be, we can leave it that way. You and I aren't gonna be around probably when the road gets widened, so.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. What's the date on that plat? Look, that we're looking at, is that the official one that's gonna be filed?
Well, I got this one in the file, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that was approved.
9/18/12?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh. Mhm. But now, is this, but this plan is not accurate though.
I think you make it a condition that you bring in
The
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 revised
plan
plan.
showing this
Shows
going
it all.
up with the radius on it too.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
do that, yeah,
We
one
should
thing.
have that in the file.
Well, it's gotta go
And the
from the
planning
planning
board-
board, before the
yeah,
planning board's gonna
site
sign off,
plan
they're
board.
gonna wanna see that too, so
Yeah,
it's
make
not.
that as a condition there, number 5 there, that a new current accurate plan be drawn showing the paved area going out to the front setback and the radius in the southwest corner.
I have it drawn on that plan, I'll take that with me.
And I have one other condition.
All setbacks with parking arrangements, you said?
Say that again?
You said accurately depicting all setbacks and what?
All setbacks and the radius
Yeah,
in the southwest
okay,
corner of the property,
okay. Southeast, southwest,
yes.
okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay, number 6.
Another one.
Yeah,
I'm getting cramps.
considering the fact that we're approving paving, I don't want in the future, should you sell the lot or something, that somebody can say, wait a minute, you've already got a structure in the setback, therefore I want to put up a building on it.
Yeah.
So what I want is a condition saying that no structures are to be erected,
Or no buildings?
no buildings,
No buildings?
to be erected above ground level.
Okay. I'm working on it.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, it's not, you don't want to vest the right for them to.
Right,
Okay, what else?
to be erected above ground level on the, here we're gonna I gotta kinda come up with some, distances. Because we, in essence, have eliminated setbacks for the paved areas.
It would have to be an
Yes.
imaginary line then,
Yeah,
right?
say within the,
Yeah, right, that
The
Within the
actual-
setback areas that this variance is granted,
is exceeding
is, right,
the original setback.
within the original setback
okay, within the
areas.
original 50-foot setback. How's that?
Whatever was 50,
Or whatever they
20,
are,
30,
setbacks.
50, 20,
Well,
and
they're
30.
50 right now, and
50,
30
30
in
They're
front,
They're different.
They're different around,
and 30 in the front.
Correct,
20 in the back.
20 in the
Well,
back,
you're not putting anything in the back.
but you're covering yourself by putting them all in.
yeah, if you were just say, oh,
Unless they change them.
within the zoning setback, or the,
Yeah, zoning setback.
yeah, within the zoning setback.
If
Okay.
zoning setbacks can
You
change.
better
Okay,
put
within the
within.
required zoning setbacks.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
that would be good.
that's reasonable.
But I could just see that going down that way at some point in time, somebody then wanting to put up a restaurant, for example, and go right out to the property line with it.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah,
That's reasonable.
right, it's reasonable, right. It's just for this plan anyway, that's getting approved, is that correct?
They wouldn't have adequate parking, yeah, Joe.
I get you. That makes sense, Joe.
Could put a business office there.
No, I'm saying you couldn't put a restaurant, you
Actual,
wouldn't have
should we
adequate
put
parking.
actual required setbacks or just required setbacks?
What do you get there? Within,
Italian restaurant?
Required setbacks should be
within the
actual.
required
What do you guys show up?
setbacks in the ordinance. I might just put that in there.
Right.
Alrighty. Okay. All right, does everyone, did you wanna take a look at these down at the other end?
You want to just read them
Can we
over?
just read them?
Just read them over, and then you can make a motion accordingly, and we'll move on.
Give me a copy, Bob.
Hey, he's got them all written out, yeah.
You can have the whole thing. Okay, so the proposal will be to,
Wouldn't it start out a motion to approve
the motion would be to approve the
paving
application
and parking?
Kids know
for
how to
paving
do
and
it.
parking, yeah.
In the front and westerly setback
Good, yeah.
as pro.
Got it.
As proposed on well, we can't use this plan, 'cause it's gonna come in as be a new plan.
Yeah,
I'll just say as proposed. I guess it, should be pretty clear between the minutes and the drawings.
can't say on the application either. So,
Or refer it back to whatever you've written, refer it back to whatever you've written about requiring the new before anything is done.
as proposed on the following conditions? in the following conditions?
You want his number?
On the revised plot, plat required for whatever meeting.
You got on the front roadside setback, vehicles may be parked up to the property line, except that a radius shall be established at the southwest corner,
Yeah.
10 feet back. Well, you don't have a 45-degree angle now.
10 feet back from the corner pin, right?
Not the 10 feet. Oh, I see what you're doing.
10
Back
feet,
from the corner pin, okay.
yeah. Okay. Right. So the motion would be to approve the appeal for paving and parking in the front and westerly setback as proposed in, or as established.
As proposed,
Yeah,
with the following conditions.
okay. We can do it that way too. I'll buy that. I said something about following conditions already, didn't I? So I need to take that out now, right? To permit automobile parking in the front and side setbacks with the following conditions.
But you don't need to, this is kind of like a motion in itself.
Yeah,
You've got this motion, then you start listing these ones.
so you want to just take this out?
Yeah, just leave that out.
Why did I write that in there?
Well, that was kind of like your motion to begin with, but you didn't have to approve,
Okay.
motion to approve.
Motion to approve, yeah. Well, we haven't approved it yet.
No. You want me to read these conditions?
Yes, please.
That I went through? Number one would be the east boundary, what is that word? Set? No, it's not that.
Is that a condition?
Oh, okay.
East boundary setback.
Okay.
Capital C.
All right, if you find any more errors, I'm leaving.
East boundary setback shall remain undeveloped except as shown on plat C2 dated 9/18/12. Number two, on the front roadside setback, vehicles may be parked up to the property line except that a radius shall be established at the southwest corner, 10 foot back from the corner pin. Number three, west boundary setback shall be reduced to 5 feet from the property line. Number four, in the event that Route 311 is widened at some future time, the zoning board of adjustment will maintain jurisdiction over the front setback limits. And number five, that a revised site plan be submitted accurately depicting all setbacks in the southwest and the, didn't leave a word out there,
Yeah,
and the radius,
southwest corner radius, yeah.
it should be southwest corner radius,
Yeah. Okay.
we're getting there.
I'm going on.
Hey, it was the last meeting of the year.
All setbacks in the southwest corner radius, yeah. Okay.
Also that southwest corner radius. Number six, no building shall be erected above ground level within the required setbacks in the ordinance. Within the required setbacks in the ordinance,
The existing one.
excuse me?
The existing one.
Well, it may not be existing, it might be proposed.
It'll be whatever.
Required
Who's
setbacks
gonna be able to figure that out if you can't figure it out tonight?
in the ordinance,
Seriously.
Convictions.
as depicted, see, no building shall be erected above ground level within the required setbacks as depicted in the ordinance, the current ordinance, as depicted in the current ordinance.
good, Joe. Yeah, because it should be based on the current ordinance, shouldn't
Mhm.
it? Yeah. Okay,
Okay, that's,
so there we go. We gotta take that,
that's,
this data, C2 data. For the motion, because that's not correct. We've asked over here for a revised plan anyways, right?
this one, yeah, but this one here really doesn't make any difference, they're not gonna do anything over there, and this will be part of the file,
Oh, okay.
so it'll be there.
Oh, all right, yeah, you're
Okay.
right, okay.
Okay, everybody's comfortable?
Any other modifications, recommendations, anything that you can think of? No? Purple lady gun. She wants to get it over with. Yeah, here she says.
Okay, so here's the motion as put forth by Mr. Brown
And company.
and company. The motion is to approve the appeal for paving and parking in the front and westerly setback as proposed with the following conditions. Do you want me to read these so you can write them down?
You don't, I've already sort of written them down, so go for it, and I'll just
Okay.
fill in. Thank you.
Number one condition would be east boundary setback shall remain undeveloped except as shown on plat C2 dated 9/18/12. Number two, on the front roadside setback, vehicles may be parked up to the property line, except that a radius shall be established at the southwest corner, 10 feet back from the corner pin. Number three, west boundary setback shall be reduced to 5 feet from the property line. Number four, in the event that Route 3 and 11 is widened at some future time, the zoning board of adjustment will maintain jurisdiction over the front setback limits. Number five, that a revised plan be submitted accurately depicting all setbacks and the southwest corner radius. And number six, no building shall be erected above ground level within the required setbacks as depicted in the current ordinance. Okay, you have the motion.
Second.
You've got a second? Any further discussion? If not, speak now for all your piece, I think of the words. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it, in a nutshell. Of course, your neighbor's gonna probably wanna do the same thing, you know.
Carlot, welcome aboard.
Oh.
Don't turn around.
This is the initial
Take all your
motion.
photographs, because you'll just get lost
And
too.
two is where your conditions start, okay? Three, they continue
Yeah, I
here,
guess so, I guess
5
we
and
should keep
6.
some, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, all
It'll
right,
just make our files thicker.
I hope that's all right for you. I'll rewrite it if you want to.
If I have any questions, I'll call you.
Oh my God.
Thank
Is
you.
she funny? Oh, it's not the operator.
Good job, guys.
Sign the,
John. Aren't these your clips?
Yes, thank you.
Are they yours?
Yeah, the board's mine too. I did
That's
it
all
all.
yours,
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
No paper.
keep the diagrams at the back of your other one and put the new one in, okay?
Yeah, I love
Reno,
paperwork.
we decided to go ahead and pay you for the year,
Really?
yeah. Before you know it. We voted on it just before you got here. Who would get paid?
Are we adjourning?
I have one thing I want to bring up before we adjourn.
Okay.
Going into next year now, and just so that we're all,
I had to go to the
good night.
conservation
Happy
meeting.
Thanksgiving.
Nice seeing you, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy,
Thank you, same to you.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We'll see you.
And Robert, you can borrow my snow shovel and get my snow rake if you need it.
We won't be back this year.
That's right, you won't.
See you next year then.
Yeah. When does this go to the planning board?
I'm sorry?
When does this go back to the planning?
I hadn't
It
heard,
doesn't.
I assumed that
The
the
plan does.
was that Thursday.
It's already been approved by the planning
Yes, they
board
voted to
with those
accept the
conditions.
The
easement.
revised plan will be,
Yeah, I
And
think about
they
it.
said-
Would you like a copy of the, there you go.
And
I'll get Sandy, I'll get it from Sandy. Is that a
I'll,
copy?
yeah,
This
that's
is
a
a
copy.
copy.
Okay.
we've got the,
Anything I can do?
You're entitled to it. That's all we're
no,
about.
it's just paperwork that I'll take care of.
I actually have a signed one
November
now.
29th.
You're right in front of the camera, sir.
See you, Bob.
take care.
Good night.
Nice seeing
On the
you.
easement? Yeah. Good to see you. Dancing pond.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all set, it's just that I had to go.
Going into next year,
conservation, get comments and-
Right.
I'd like to
get comments
keep the
and
Monday
we'll have a
night
public hearing. Wait
as
5
a
days
general
and then
rule
we'll
rather
sign
than
the
Tuesday, if everybody's
You've
coming.
aged 10 years since you've been dealing with
The
this.
only thing I have to say is that conservation meets on the third Monday.
I don't,
Do you want to change the Monday to a different Monday of the month?
Unless development picks up really big time, it's chances are
Okay.
we're not gonna interfere with them in most cases anyways.
yeah, I'm not that concerned with that. And besides, we have upstairs if we had to.
Yes, we do.
So it's not like we're limited to one particular
That's always
location.
an option.
Night, Jane.
But the,
Good night, Miss Sullivan.
I'm getting out as quick as I can, but I'm not doing real well at the quickness.
I'm trying to help you.
Thank you. Good night, folks.
Take
I
care.
appreciate your time and what you've done.
Happy holidays, buddy.
good night, John.
See you around.
Yeah, so I'd just like to make a motion, we'll stay with Monday nights,
Well, that's gonna have to be a
the third Monday.
changed in the town,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's good because I was making up the calendar for next year, so I haven't put that forth yet, so I'll have to redo that, okay.
Good timing on that then.
Yeah.
Is
Motion
that-
was made
Is that
and
what for all you
seconded.
guys, Monday? Kathy?
For me?
Yeah, you gonna be around?
If it becomes problematic at that point in time, we can change it again, I mean, that's in our option, but right now, that fits better with Robert and I,
We could,
to be able to make the,
we could certainly use one or two alternates too, if they ever, anybody ever,
we have one, it just doesn't show up.
that's why I said one or two, you know, really not.
And that would be the third Monday of the month, right?
Yes,
Okay.
If you happen to run across anybody.
Right, especially if I can't make it coming from Macony.
Is Monday nights good for you?
Yeah, it's kind
Well,
of
it doesn't
tough.
matter, I mean, if I'm, running late doing payroll or something, and there's a snowstorm or something, what if I can't get here?
Yeah.
My issue is trying to get a hold of someone to let you know, I'm not coming.
You don't have a
You-
roster, you don't have a roster of phone
I
numbers?
went through the trouble of turning my cell phone on, in case you call.
You can always leave me a message early on my phone. I go check the phone.
What if it's like 5 or 6, are you gonna
Yeah.
hear that phone ringing in there?
Yes.
Probably not.
You can, okay. I
Yeah.
have that in my phone
Okay,
for you,
yeah, you can call, yeah.
it
Or
goes through the
email,
prompts
yeah.
and blah, blah, blah.
I can give you my,
But if I email,
Home
you're not gonna,
yeah, sometimes I don't turn on my email.
did
when
she
I-
email?
If you know early enough, you can email, but.
Make a motion, we adjourn, so she can,
Okay, so that was motion made to change the date. Was that all voted and approved or?
Mhm.
Okay.
I second the motion to adjourn.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, and now it is.
Okay.
So what do they actually call it,
This color? I don't know. It was called easy to see this morning, to put it on color.
Passion fruit.
Cause I got up late.
That is really wild.